Together we can show the world what we can do. You are next to me and I'm next to you. Push me on through until the battle's won.
Now, Yakuza was a series I had heard nothing about until the release of Yakuza Zero in February of last year. I was interested, but I didn't have the money nor the time for it, so I ended up skipping over it for the time being. And if I'm being honest, I really wish I had heard of it, or this franchise in general, much sooner. Now, I will try and keep this review as spoiler-free as I possibly can. I'll try to only show story scenes up to Chapter 4, and any gameplay I show will try to not spoil anything I can. I really do not want to piss over this game's story. It is too fantastic, and I don't want to ruin it for anyone, as Yakuza is still a relatively niche series, although it has received a lot of popularity in recent years. Now, after a friend yelled at me for nearly 4 months to buy the game, and really the entire franchise, I was finally able to get around to it around the holly jolly time known as Christmas. Now, what did I think about it? Holy shit, where do I even begin? How about how long it took me to get this video out? I'd like to quickly apologize for this. Many things came up in the process of making this video. Starting a new collab channel and supporting it, a Discord server I run, general laziness, getting back into school, my headset dying, Celeste and Yakuza Kiwami 2 taking up all of my time, the fact I've had to re-record literally every single line in this video. A lot got in the way, so I'd like to apologize for taking so long to get a substantial video out, but it's about time to get back into the review. Yakuza Zero is an open-world action-adventure 3D beat-em-up game with some minor RPG elements, developed and published by Sega. It is available for the PS4, but also PS3 in Japan, and now PC. And implied by the game's namesake, it is the prequel to the first Yakuza, the Zeroth entry, if you will. Funnily enough, it was also Sega's last attempt at localizing one of these games in the West. They were going to stop at 5, but sheer fan demand and Sony offering to help them had them localize 5 in the end. So, in one final attempt to bring the series over, they brought over Zero, which appeared to do pretty well for itself and resulted in the series actually continuing to get big releases in the West, such as Kiwami and 6 being localized over, and Kiwami 2 having just come out this August 28th. Fun fact, back when I was scripting this, Kiwami 2 had just gotten its English localization trailer, and the HD remastered of Yakuza 3, 4, and 5 had also all been announced for Japan, slated for summer, fall, and early 2019 respectively. And we know it's only a matter of time before they're brought over here, so that's going to be fun. Oh, and then Fist of the North Star Lost Paradise got its release, which is only a couple of weeks after, from now actually, the time I'm writing this. And very recently, Judge Eyes got a trailer, and if you want to know what I think of it, well...
No witnesses.
Got my hands full with this series, and that's for certain, but I sure am going to love every single second of it. But now that I've covered all of that, I'm going to very briefly touch on the story, because it's something that I absolutely refuse to spoil. The game tells its narrative through the stories of 2 characters, Kiryu Kazuma and Goro Majima, with the tales eventually intertwining near the very end. Kiryu is an upstarting Yakuza, and his story begins with him doing a simple collections job, only for the person he collected from to wind up dead and him being framed for it, putting himself and the person he owes his life to, Shintaro Kazuma, in danger. He must then unravel the mystery of finding the identity of the man who framed him to prove his innocence, and fighting against the Dojima family, the family he resides in, eventually gaining the help of a mysterious man named Tachibana, owner of a real estate company who's fighting against the Dojima family and has connections with Kazuma. Majima, meanwhile, is an exiled Yakuza who was sent to the city of Sotenberg, and is stuck in that city, a gilded cage as he calls it. He is forced to run a cabaret club named The Grand, and does a damn fine job of it if you ask me. He does this in order to earn enough money to get himself back into his family, the Shimano family. However, he's presented a golden opportunity to do so early, along with the money he's already achieved, in the form of a hit. He's sent to kill someone named Makoto Makimura, and from there, the rabbit hole gets deeper and deeper, with both plotlines connected in an amazing story full of plot twists and constant revelations. It had amazing character moments that kept me on the edge of my seat. The story is beautifully woven, and almost no ends are left untied. And it helps us understand why Kiryu, and very especially Majima, are the way they are now, the people they would become, as well as making the ending of Kiwami even more somber. One big plus to the game's story presentation is the game's cinematography. I swear to God, it's so fucking good. Some of the best I've seen in any video game. The camera angles, the lighting, the fighting, all of it is done so well and beautifully choreographed. It's brought to life by the amazing voice work across the board by every single actor they brought on board. I hate to commend any of these actors above the others, so I won't. Especially since the scenes they excel in are spoilers. Even though they excel all the time, it is a paradox. The game's presentation is also pretty decent. Not top-notch in anything besides the cutscenes, but it certainly looks nice. The character models are well detailed and animated just fine, the visuals look really nice and crisp. It's not just advanced as the other games releasing before or after, not that it matters much, as what it sacrificed in visual fidelity, however, was put towards a smooth, silky, buttery, delicious 60 frames per second, which I've seen dip a total of 2 times in my total of 250 plus hours of playtime. The game's interpretations of Tokyo's Kabuchiko and Osaka's Dotonbori, Kamurocho and Sotenbori respectively, are apparently really accurate and spot-on recreations of the cities they're inspired by. They're also the hubs in which you'll be spending a decent amount of time trekking across exploring. Don't worry, however, as it's far from boring, as littered throughout the open worlds are a humongous sum of side quests, mini-games, stores, and other things that keep you constantly entertained. And littered across the overworld are also these little collectible cards, which always get a laugh out of me. It's like collecting little porn cards, and can be used for other purposes. What I'm getting at is this game definitely does not have an empty open world. It's one of the most bustling I've seen in any game, if I'm being honest. In fact, let me touch over something I briefly mentioned. The side quests, or sub-stories as they're called. These are honestly some of the biggest highlights of the game, and honestly, the one thing that could pull me out of the amazing main story. The sub-stories vary greatly in tone and purpose, and attribute to the game's absolutely fucking wild tonality. One minute you could be helping a man walk across a bridge without getting his ass whipped because he's wearing a jacket that fucking says "Bring on the fights," and the next moment, in the main story, you'll be fighting for your life against an entire army of Yakuza. And yet not once does it feel out of place or wrong because the game balanced it so well. As mentioned before, the sub-stories have a wide range of tones to them. One story involves fighting an old martial arts master who is a descendant of a long clan of warriors as a way of training. Another involves taking a series of drugs to help further medical research, but all of them failing horrifically and you needing to fight groups of people to test said failed drugs. Or the story of a father who had face surgery and is unrecognizable to his family, so he watches them close by just to feel close to them again. I feel like those examples should be enough proof by what I mean. There are also some tied to mini-games, and by some, I mean a lot. Possibly far too many being tied specifically to RC racing and telephone clubbing, but I'll talk about those later. However, I can only consider these to be a positive addition in nearly every way, as they manage to keep me perpetually enthralled in the world presented to me, even after the story's completion. But now, it's time to talk about the absolutely magnificent soundtrack you've been listening to the whole video. I can't tell you how much I absolutely love this OST, but I'll try my hardest to explain and avoid using spoiler songs, sadly, as they are some of my favorites in the OST. This game has immense soundtrack variants to not only fit the situations, but also sounding really nice and always hella catchy. There's quite a few absolutely amazing rock tracks, but to avoid spoilers, I'll use La Di Da. It's a song that plays during Brawler training missions for Kiryu, and it's so good, with a powerful but catchy composition and great riffs. You've also got your smooth, cheesy-ass love songs for the Cabaret Club, which is just all too fitting and a nice little tweet, with some not half-bad singing to boot.
What do you like best? Would you like how you like? I just want your love. Even though you look at her, this will be last forever.
Then there's the heavy and threatening as fuck theme of Mr. Shakedown, the big cunt boy that threatens to steal all your money. If the alarms in this theme doesn't trigger instant heart palpitations within you, you are a stronger man than most. That's only a taste of what the soundtrack has to offer. I implore you to play the game so you can experience it and its music. I'd say it's time to move on to something else, however. Probably the biggest aspect of the game, if I'm being honest, the combat. And damn if it isn't fine. You have a series of options and combos at your disposal. Lock onto your enemies with R1 and start pummeling, square dishes out light attacks, and triangle deals out heavy attacks. Circle for a grab or quick attack, and X for a quick step or a slow roll for beast. Occasionally, if certain criteria are met, which is indicated by a little triangle symbol on the top right, you can press triangle and unleash a heat action. Using some of the heat gauge, which is filled by damaging enemies and narrowly avoiding attacks. A devastating attack or series of attacks that deals gargantuan amounts of damage. These heat actions can vary greatly depending on how they're activated. Sometimes the combo finishes, or maybe they're kicking an enemy flying while they're down. Other times they can be used if you have a weapon or object on hand, or if the enemy themselves has a weapon, object, or happens to exist in the wrong place, or hell, even grabs can unleash these attacks. You can bash someone's head into a fucking wall or use your fucking fists on their ass. The ones I named, I believe, are usable by both protags. However, both protags also have their own unique heat actions, so don't worry about them getting stale. Before I get into the next aspect of combat, styles, I think I'll touch on the weapon system. Both characters have access to different kinds of weapons. Guns, tonfas, nunchakus, bats, swords, knives, poles, staffs, spears, shotguns, or even shit you find on the floor. Like mystery liquids, a fucking tangerine, beer cases, signs of hell, even that box of nails sitting right there. Tough guys eating bowls of nails for breakfast, right? They can handle a mouthful. Not to mention that most weapons or objects have their own heat actions that you can activate, making them all around pretty easy. Now that I've gone over that, it's time to talk about the styles. Kiryu and Majima each have 4, but only 3 of them are unlocked through the main gameplay. Each protag has their own business-related minigame that they need to work on as well, which I will touch upon later. And at the end of the side quest, they will learn their 4th style. Even without those X2 styles, there's still 6 in total, each with their own extensive skill trees to upgrade, although they can't be fully upgraded while working on their businesses. Although you shouldn't need more than just the first block to finish the game. I didn't. The first of Kiryu's styles is known as Brawler, and just like its namesake, it's a very unrefined style, throwing on a lot of weight, but god damn if it isn't effective. Since we'll be doing a lot of street brawling, this style is Kiryu throwing strong punches and kicks, drop kicks, and very similar things. It's kinda hard to talk about a style like this since it's relatively basic in concept, but really fun to use in execution, and is very damn effective. It's the ultimate basic style. Kiryu's next style is named Rush, and it's inspired by punch-out artists, using very rapid punches and kicks, along with a cacophony of dodges, weaves, and quick steps, making it good for one-on-one encounters, with larger opponents, such as the shitbag known as Mr. Shakedown, especially since Kiryu can quick step at about 4 times consecutively, allowing you to damn near dance around your opponent. Heat actions let you shatter a fucker's fist or elbow, or fucking punch someone so hard they fly into everyone behind them. Beast is Kiryu's third style, and damn if it lives up to its namesake. With the power of stomping your foot and walking really, really slowly, Kiryu increases his power damn near tenfold, allowing him to easily toss around motherfuckers like they're feather pillows. He throws his weight around as if he's a goddamn elephant and hits harder than a fucking 18-wheeler. And his blocks even allow him to brace himself so hard he can tank fucking bullets and blades if he's upgraded properly. Grabbing is fucking insane and lets you take out loads of opponents at once, and jabbing fuckers with sticks is always fun. The biggest downside to the power is the fact that Kiryu moves slower than a dead fucking house, and the style is absolute hot garbage for bosses. Key moves let you dislocate someone's shoulders, break the fucking neck, then throw them, or just completely barrel roll to a shitload of people, or just toss people around into each other. It's pretty effective if I'm being honest. The final unlockable style is Dragon, which is an amalgamation of Kiryu's older, or would it be future, what would become Kiryu's Dragon style in the future games, showing the true finesse of the Dragon of Dojima, with some of the most powerful heat actions in the game. Generally, really fucking strong attacks, and some damn fine music that you're listening to right now. This is probably my favorite out of all of Kiryu's styles. Majima's battle styles are up next, and his first style is known as Thug. It seems like a much more refined and trained version of Kiryu's ball style, as by this point Majima would be much more experienced than him. The style consists of swift punches and kicks which come out in very quick succession, probably his fastest style. His heat moves that aren't using objects or weapons have him snap an opponent from there, choke them out, fucking cartwheel knee someone in the chest, flying spin kick their face, deflect knives with his foot, or just fucking pummeling someone. Stealing weapons too, that works. Breaker is the next style, and what an appropriate name that is. Shit breaks the fucking game. Single-handedly the best style for crowd control. You can just fucking wipe the floor with entire armadas with this style. Spinning on like a Beyblade hopped up on sugar after snorting 17 billion pounds of cocaine and generally just being a campy dipshit is perfect. Your hitbox is so large and fucking destroys everything with the sheer power of Majima's moves. Key actions let you flying axe people, beat the shit out of each other, and catch motherfucking swords with your goddamn teeth. Slugger is his next style, which has him whip out a bat and play baseball with enemy skulls, using powerful strikes and flipping around and shit. Basically using it as a fucking Jaku, it's helpful for taking out small groups of foes or stronger opponents. Bopping someone over the head with a bat and then just getting a complete home run on the fucking skulls, an amazing feeling. Slugger also has some of the most heat actions involving weapons, which is genuinely kind of interesting. Next up is Majima's fourth unlockable style, the Mad Dog of Shimano, utilizing his favorite knife that he wields in just about every entry. A very fast, frantic, and generally crazed style, utilizing quick swipes, stabs, and ballerina blade spins. Not to mention probably one of the best heat moves in the game. This is one of my personal favorite styles in the game. A great battle theme, which tends to be a trend in the game. My biggest issue with it though is general lack of heat moves. There aren't really that many to mess around with. You can upgrade all of these styles in various ways, such as doing more damage, unlocking more moves, getting more health, heat energy, and general things like that, by investing money into yourself. If you're a fucking maniac, you can go to level 999, and I believe at some point on the way you're able to one-shot the secret bosses, which have over 11 health bars if I remember correctly. You can get fucking broken, but it requires a lot of grinding to get that high. Most playthroughs don't even require going above level 2, which is pretty cool if you ask me. The combat makes fighting enemies, and especially bosses, enjoyable. Bosses are extremely buffed up enemies that as you fight them, the AI gradually increases the longer you fight them, making them actually pretty tough. They're usually one of the highlights of the game in my opinion. My favorites being the one at the end of Chapter 6 and the final bosses. The game's combat system comes to a head in specific sequences in the story, in which you'll be given a relatively large stage and be forced to fight large groups of goons in what are known as long battles, which are usually some of the highlights of the game and the entire franchise in my opinion, with some fantastic music and some of the coolest set pieces in the game. They generally put your combat skills to the test in a fun environment and even have some cool set pieces and badass bosses in the end. I also played Yakuza Zero's hardest difficulty, Legends, in preparation for this video. And it generally makes things a little harder, enemies do more damage and they seem to soak up more hits as well. The bosses have been majorly buffed as well, they'll fuck you up. There's also a set piece relatively late into the adventure that becomes much more challenging to it as well. The game, however, is generous with your skill level, allowing you to change difficulties at any point. Besides Legends, Legends is a fucking commitment, but a fun one nonetheless. Now, since it's the bubble era in Japan, money is everything, even your experience. However, you can't fully upgrade your styles until you do all the business side quests. And the unlockable styles can't be fully upgraded until you buy a special ability from the temple using CP. Completion points. Completion points are yet another aspect of the completion process. You get completion points by essentially checking things off a list. Buying all the food at certain places, defeating a certain amount of enemies, or defeating a certain amount using a specific style, sometimes something arbitrary. While some can be fun, others can be completely agonizing, or even stop your quest to 100% completion. Oh, so barely. I'll touch on that later. But using the points you get from completing tasks, you can buy other upgrades, such as running longer and taking less time to be tired, eventually being able to run infinitely, gaining more money from beating enemies, finding certain enemies more often, unlocking the second block of upgrades for the unlockable legend styles, and other helpful but not necessary things. One of the biggest draws of the Yakuza series is the host of minigames it brings to the table, and Zero brings a shitload to said table, for better or for worse. Since the game takes place in the 80s, many of the mini-games are based around things that were popular in that time period. They even turned fucking telephone clubbing into a mini-game, for Christ's sake. But I'll go into my favorite ones, to the ones I can talk the least about. Karaoke is actually the main reason this game was made, let's be honest. The entire series has been leading up to this moment. Yakuza singing all night, come on, Sega, please, you can do it. Alright, I'll be honest. This is a great ass minigame. If it's a song where the characters themselves are singing, you can only pick one option to play. However, if you pick a song where another person has to sing, you can choose to interject with a simple or lively interjection. The name implies the difficulty. I'd also like to point out that instead of singing when interjecting, Majima just fucking screams maniacally. The songs themselves are actually really fucking catchy, with Judgment being one of my personal favorites from the OST, and Heartbreak Mermaid being a very, very, very fantastic song. Majima's 24-hour Cinderella is amazing as well, and hearing Kiryu and Majima scream John, John just generally makes my life complete. Add this together with some great imagination sequences where the character singing imagines himself in some inane situation. Judgment has Kiryu and Nishiki playing instruments and singing a song while Kashiwagi goes fucking off on the keyboard and back. Meanwhile, Majima escapes around like a pro with his fucking squad.
I'm going to rapid fire mention the rest of the minigames. There's disco dancing, fishing, telephone clubbing, batting cages, catfighting, which is literally just glorified rock, paper, scissors, and it cheats. Pocket circuit racing, which I'm not a big fan of, a shitload of Sega arcade games such as Outrun, Super Outrun, Space Harrier, and Fantasy Zone. And there are also crane games, which are annoying as shit and cheat, and a fuck ton of Japanese board games and card games I'll never be good at, so I can't get 100% completion. And also, if you count it as a mini-game, there's a Coliseum which presents a bunch of combat-related challenges and fights against different opponents, which is always a good distraction. But now it's time to get onto the more substantial and rewarding mini-games.
Now on to the business mini-games, which are a relatively large part of the game. I'll go over Kiryu's business first. Kiryu's business is basically real estate, managing and investing into businesses to turn a profit. The interesting thing about the minigame is that your security and managers that you have to set to each area of land are actually people from the subquest you complete. You also have supervisors, which are the people who give the money to invest in the buildings. Some will work better than others with specific types of buildings, so investing into certain kinds of supervisors will give greater boosts than others. But if you have Miracle Johnson, you'll be good for basically all the minigame. In order to get more properties, you first have to buy them. Exploiting this to shakedown at least once will probably help a lot. You search across the map for locations and then buy them, some of which are given to you after you fill a friendship gauge with the owner of said place. You can also win some by winning money battles against the 5 area kings, and I think now is the perfect time to get into them. The 5 billionaires are people you are contesting against, and really the main reason Kiryu started this whole business tirade. These bastards have taken over entire segments of Kamurocho's entertainment industry, and are fucking with the lives of ordinary people, so you've gotta step in now. After taking enough of their property, they'll challenge you to a money battle or two. After those, they'll challenge you to some form of mini game with a decent percent of your business at stake, and if you win or lose that, you usually just have to do a couple more money battles, and then they'll challenge you to a duel in an attempt to kill you. You win and you take over the area, and said king will join your business. There are 5 of them. Finishing this quest will grant you the 4th and final style from Kiryu. Majima's business, however, is a little bit different. He runs a cabaret club, taking care of the girls and making sure they're in the best shape they can be, having a diverse lineup, and preparing are all done beforehand. And then in the minigame itself, you have to seat the guests with specific girls and assist the girls in any way you can by reading whatever the hand signal asks you to do. Doing it quickly will reward more money and restore the girl's health, and if a girl's health runs out, they'll start to underperform. The minigame is all about micromanagement, and it'll take a short time to get used to, but you'll have some fun. You also gotta be quick with this though, as your guests have the patience of a child and can't wait more than 10 seconds when they enter a fucking filled to the brim cabaret club. They expect instant service, the fucking man children. But now, instead of buying businesses, you partner with them. After partnering with enough businesses and earning enough fans in the area, one of the 5 area kings go after you. Very similarly to the 5 billionaires, these people have monopolized the cabaret businesses. They will challenge you to a cabaret battle, and I swear to God these battles are on and off. Some are fun challenges, but others just fucking hate you. They will use their supers repeatedly in such a span of time they shouldn't be able to. However, with enough effort, you will beat them. Finishing this minigame shall reward you with Majima's 4th gameplay style. The business side quests certainly add a lot more meat to the game, however I definitely prefer Majima's side quests. I just find it much more interesting and fun than Kiryu's somewhat static real estate. It was also brought back in Kiwami 2, which is cool. One thing that sucks about the side quest though is the fact that some of the best songs in the game are locked behind battling some goons that barely even show up in the game. The songs are called Troubleshooting Star and Interplanetary Spark. Considering by this point I've touched on everything, I'll mention a few post-game unlockables. You unlock a mode called Climax Battle and Premier Adventure. Premier Adventure is just the main game, but there's no story to follow, so you have free reign to do whatever you want. Climax battles are interesting, however. They're sets of battles with certain conditions, some ridiculous, others feasible but challenging. This allows for really cool scenarios, such as fighting in areas only seen in cutscenes and facing bosses exclusive to Kiryu with Majima, and vice versa. There's also some ones that witness a shakedown with specific conditions, and one of which you fight him in a very thin alleyway. I don't really need to say much more than that.
It's about time to wrap this video up. Considering I've talked so much about the game by now, it's about time I end this. In this grand scheme of games that came out in 2017, the absolutely fantastic video games, this is probably my favorite. Although I haven't played a couple like Nier Automata yet, Yakuza Zero even beats out Persona 5 as my favorite game of that year. The Yakuza team at Sega has my full attention and devotion, and I plan to make videos on as many of the games in the series as I can. In fact, the next video I plan to make on the franchise will be a comparison between Yakuza Kiwami and the original Yakuza on PS2. I just need to figure out a way to play and record the original Yakuza with little issues, so don't expect that video for a while.
Now I've gone over the story, the music, the gameplay, and basically all of its facets. I guess there's not much else to go over by this point, so I'll go over a few collective smaller details in the game. It's pretty long, with about 17 chapters, and it should give you around 50 hours of playtime if you rush it, going from objective to objective, and 70 to 80 if you explore the game and do a bunch of sub-stories and minigames and stuff. I got 200 hours when I did sub-stories, fought the secret super bosses, and attempted to do all the completion list. I got about 93% before the minigame stopped me from fully completing it. Yakuza Zero also appears to be one of the fan favorites of the franchise as well, which is good. As well as it being the best starting point in the series, it contains a wealth of content, of fantastic stories and characters I refuse to spoil, Extremely fun and kinetic gameplay, amazing cinematography and cutscenes, and some of the most wild tonality I've seen in any game. It's ascended to the status of my third favorite game of all time. I hope that I convinced you this game is worth playing, so that way you can hopefully enjoy it even a fraction of how much I did. This is Kirbonic Pikmin, signing out.
子供なのね夢を追って傷ついて嘘が下手なくせに笑えない笑顔を見せた I love you もろくに言わない口下手でほんまに不器用なのにどうしてさよならは言えたのダメだねダメよダメなのよあんたが好きで好きすぎてどれだけ強いお酒でも歪まない想い